$10,000. We were talking about a lot more money than this.
Yes, sir, we were. This is genuine coin of the realm. The dollar of this, you can buy $10 of talk. And there are more of us to be taken care of now.
Well, that may be, but I've got the Falcon.
I shouldn't think it would be necessary to remind you, Mr. Spade, that you may have the Falcon, but we certainly have you.
The Maltese Falcon is a movie from 1941, directed by John Huston.
Too soon.
And it stars Humphrey Bogart, Mary Astor, Peter Lorre. It's widely considered the first film noir.
Explain to me what that is.
So it's a style. I mean, it's considered a genre, but it's more of a style of movies generally about detectives. Generally use dark settings, dark storylines. It's kind of a vague, amorphous term. It's more like you know it when you see it. But movies like
No, I got it now.
Maltese Falcon,
It's what
Big
Dick
Sleep,
Tracy
Chinatown,
spoofs.
Dick Tracy, yeah, and even like Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
Eddie Valiant is a parody of a film noir character. This was also the star-making performance for Humphrey Bogart, who had kind of languished as all kinds of failed attempts to make him into a star had improperly used whatever it is about him that works. This was the first movie that really got it right.
Who's the director?
John Huston.
Oh, okay, right. Angelica Houston's dick.
That's right.
Okay.
And I would say this is probably one of my 10 favorite movies of all time. It'd been 5 years or so since I'd last seen it. You know, on the show, I've kind of felt weird about kind of bringing in really old movies.
And you should.
But I think there's an interesting conversation to be had about just like how tastes change over time and how do we judge things like within context. Like obviously everybody in these movies are terribly sexist and racist, and what do we do with that?
Right.
But you know, we've done Citizen Kane, and I wanted to try another old movie, and I thought that you would like this because it's a movie about weird people being weird and lying to each other,
but also
and just
with
trying
a
to
smile.
figure out what the hell's going on.
Yes, but I also like that there's so much. Not only do I like that people being weird and getting to just run with it and just figuring out the weirdos, but it's because there's levity to their weirdness.
Yeah.
Like they're having fun. They're having fun with each other. They're being weird in unison together, and they're all. I love a movie that all the characters are amused with each other inside of, and there's two characters in this movie who just really enjoy being amused by the quirks of other people.
Okay, who are they?
Oh, Humphrey Bogart's character, and then the fat man.
Okay.
He also they both are just thrilled. Like they just met a whole lot of people, and they just get really thrilled when they meet an interesting one.
Yeah.
So the whole ooh, this is interesting. Because he
true.
said it is. Oh, I bet that's interesting. He said it is.
At the same time, it is a very dark movie, but there is kind of a.
Yes.
It's not really a humorous movie, but there's
Seems
just
like a
these...
comedy.
Really?
That's how I took it.
Huh. Well, there's something to see. I don't think it's a comedy because it's people deceiving each other and trying to put up this shield of impenetrability of I'm invulnerable until the very end when Bogart cracks and lets out the real him and kind of makes a sacrifice because of a code that he seems to subscribe to, even though everything about the movie has shown he doesn't have a code. He's going to go with whoever pays him.
Right.
And he's going to beat people up, and then as he's leaving, he's going to smile about it. But he actually, in the end, he acts with this kind of integrity that you didn't know he was carrying. The plot of the movie it's the ultimate MacGuffin movie, and a MacGuffin is the term Alfred Hitchcock coined for an object or a plot device in a movie that basically everybody wants and it drives the story. And the point is, it doesn't matter what it is, because that's not really what the movie's about. It's what are the characters doing? What's their journey like? Like the ring in Lord of the Rings. It doesn't matter that it's a ring. It's just it's powerful. So we got to blah blah blah.
Yeah.
The Maltese Falcon is a jewel-encrusted statue of a bird, and it's been hopping around for a long time. And some people want it, and these are some shady characters. You got Joel Cairo, Peter Lorre, and you got Casper Gutman, the Fat Man, Sidney Greenstreet, and just some lowlives. And they run around the world trying to get it, and then they draw in Sam Spade, played by Humphrey Bogart, into their web. And everyone the whole movie is just lying to him and he's lying back to them.
Yes, and lying to each other.
And then revealing, no, I knew you were lying, and of course I went along with you anyway. And so you...
It's easy to get lost.
Yeah. But all that's kind of beside the point, because it's more about a movie about just a sort of exercise in style and character. And I was delighted by this movie once again. I was worried that it wouldn't.
No, it was awesome.
Hold up.
What?
I thought it was interesting that when you come to a movie like this and people are speaking in their 1940s cadence and they're using these words, they're interacting in ways that people don't interact anymore. Mm-hmm. Humphrey Bogart says to his partner, he says, "You got brains." "Yes, you have." And then the scene just dissolves, and you were like, "What the fuck was that?"
I mean,
but the thing is, like, later on in the movie, you realize why he said that, and it's because Bogart is having an affair with his partner's wife, and he's saying, "You have brains, you do," like saying, like, "Ha, you're so smart, aren't you?" When in fact he's secretly taunting him. You're not smart. You don't even realize what's going on behind your back.
Right, but so you don't always know which to write off. Which random things are in what camp? They matter, or this is just the way they talk.
Yeah,
then.
I don't know what's going. Is what's going on? Just this is how people were back then, right. And I gotta just accept it. Yeah, okay. Exactly.
Wait, well, this reminds me of one of our earliest podcasts, Halloween, where a couple times you were trying to convince me in our argument to just write off the things I didn't like, because in the 70s people just kind of talk like that. Like, you got to get over it. You got to just follow the story and not get so hung up on their interactions, because it's the 70s. Uh-huh. And I think you've now since would say differently, because I don't think you can do that. Either a movie is good and it just innately has those things. You can't stop a movie being made right now that's going to have all of the stylings of the way we talk right now. Mm-hmm. But either the movie's going to be good or it's going to be bad. And that is true of all decades.
Sure. So, and if it's good, you can look past the...
But it's still good,
quirks of the time, right?
But if I'm getting so hung up on this bullshit dialogue and the way that they're interacting, then other things are not fucking taking place. Like a story. Mm-hmm. Or acting. So this is just a great example of characters can have all the quirks and current trappings of their language, whatever they want, but it's still a good movie. It's a good fucking movie. Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
That was good. That was well said. What is it about Humphrey Bogart? Like, what would you...
He's got a mouthpiece. No, there's something to be said about that. In fact,
he's got a mouthpiece. He doesn't have a mouthpiece. He has a lisp.
That's not what a mouthpiece is.
What do you mean?
He can talk.
Well, I thought you were saying he has some sort of prosthetic thing.
No, that's a term. That's for someone who can talk their way into and out of things.
Okay.
He's got a confidence. He's got a running monologue that's interesting to listen to for people that are exterior to his brain. It's like a stream of consciousness that's not boring.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
He can... It makes him seem... I don't know. It can go either way. You can seem intelligent or you can seem like a rambling crazy person. But this movie allowed him to be confident and quirky and that be really impressive to the people around him. And I'm telling you, there's a lot you can sign on to with any performance if the people around them are going, yeah, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. Oh, he's so handsome. Like, you just go with it. Mm-hmm. So, this movie got supporting cast right.
Yeah, it did. What did you think about Mary Astor as Bridget O'Shaughnessy, the woman, the femme fatale? I'd say she's the weak point of the movie.
Super bored with her face as soon as his eyebrows, and her hair. Is it long or short? I can't fucking figure out that hair. It's crazy. Okay. It's like it's forever in a hairnet, and I love hair from that time. Like I loved his receptionist's hair, for instance. But as the movie went, I liked her more and more. It's just I kind of figure you don't have to care, and you need to be somewhat detached from her anyhow.
But for the ending to really land, you have to believe that Sam Spade loves her, because he says maybe...
I don't really care. It didn't matter to me, because by that time, I'm so used to them switching it one way or the other. Like, hey, you believe this? No, that's different. Hey, you believe that? It was different this way the whole time. Mm-hmm. So I'm not even sold on that. That's just what he's telling her in the moment, and it doesn't have to be true. Because he said plenty to the widow as well, but never told her go fuck herself.
Right, but
to her
I
face.
just want her to have a little more agency. Just be a little more
She had plenty of agency.
solid. Just be a little more something. Whereas she, like Betty Davis, was attached to this role for a while, and like that's something to think about. Is if Betty Davis was playing this role,
Yeah, I mean,
be so much more substantive. And I mean, maybe Humphrey Bogart wouldn't have shined so much next to her, and then movie history would have been different. Or maybe they would have just brought out the best in each other. But to imagine a superior actress in this role kind of makes me think the movie could be even better. But okay,
I disagree.
there's something about Humphrey Bogart that's like. He's very much a product of his time. He's very of his time, but there is something kind of otherworldly or like unstuck from time.
Feel the same way. The whole time I was
like he seems like a time traveler.
Yes, I was the whole time I thought he seemed like in on something that the world around him wasn't. Like he understood how complicated or quirky or just different any one performance could be, and it could still work. He just seems like wise. When you watch,
this is a time before there was method acting. Like no actor at the time would have discussed their process or anything like that, and I don't think he would have been that way either. But when other characters are talking, watch the person who's not talking, and all they do with their eyes is just look at the person who's talking and then look to the. But he's like actually doing stuff. Like you can see he's calculating, right there. And I think that might be my favorite thing about him is he's always trying to keep ahead of everybody else, and he's always masking some sort of vulnerability from that you'll never learn about. But this guy's fucking lived, and the actor too didn't become a movie star until really late, relatively late in his life after he'd already had a very hard life. So that's why he's the best.
Right, he's hungry and grateful or something, but like there's an engine in there that never turns off, and I love that about anybody. Mm-hmm. So it's like Robin Williams, for instance. It might get exhausting sometimes.
But like the story didn't start here.
Yes,
sort of thing.
Right.
Like there's a lot of mileage right here already.
Right.
Even though he seems fresh. Anything else about this movie? It's based on Dashiell Hammett novel that's really good, and a lot. And for
I'll definitely not read that.
Well, written in the 30s, but like very straightforward about saying characters are having sex, and whereas this movie has to do fade to black. It was even controversial that the movie didn't have a happy ending, but they stubbornly decided to keep that. Yeah. Would your John or Jane Everyman in 2018, Lacey, if they watched this movie, would they be into it?
I think that they would, but they need to get through the first 20 minutes just so they can see that the pace never goes. You can worry that the pace would slow if you didn't realize, oh no, this movie's just going to keep going.
Yeah. Okay.
If you get a good break, you'll be out of Tehachapi in 20 years, and you can come back to me then. I hope they don't hang you, Precious, for that sweet neck.
You're not.
Yes, Angel, I'm going to send you over. The chances are you'll get off with life. That means if you're a good girl, you'll be out in 20 years. I'll be waiting for you. If they hang you, I'll always remember you.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening to our podcast.
Thank you.
Please visit my website, mattstokes.net. I'm writing about nostalgia and Ready Player One this week on my blog. And you please buy my short story, Thirsty. My book, Generation Y. Buy Thirsty again, and then leave a review on Amazon.
Thirsty Thursdays.
What other plugs do we need to get out of the way?
Hair plugs.
Hey,
I love you. Bye. Plugs. Oh, that was a good one. Oh. That was a good plug one. No, your spark plugs was good.
Oh, okay.
3, 4. Everybody, love bear.